In our previous lessons on North America, we learnt about the location, boundaries and political divisions of the continent. In this lesson, we will be learning about the physical divisions of the continent. So here we have a physical map of North America. So as you can see, there are various colors and shades on the map. Now what does this signify? This signifies the different types of physical features that is prominent on the continent of North America. Now here is a simple illustration that will help us understand that the dark brown color on the map on the western coast of the continent tells us that here there are mountains present with the highest elevation of 4,000 meters above. However, on the map we also see some other shades of brown which are lighter than the very western coast of the continent, which tells us that there are different mountain ranges of different elevations. Now, other than the mountains, there are other shades on the map too. For example, the green shades tells us about the plains, while the brown shades on that side tells us about the plateaus, deserts and different continental shields. So we see that there are different types of landforms present on the continent of North America, and we will be focusing on the 4 major physical divisions of the continent today. So here we have the physical map of North America, which tells us about the 4 major physical divisions of the continent. And these are, firstly, the western Cordilleras, that is bordering the western coast of the continent. Then we have the Great Plains or the Central Plains. Now, while the western Cordilleras are a chain of parallel mountains, the Great Plains, also the Central Plains, lies between the western Cordilleras and the Appalachian Mountains or the Eastern Highlands. While western Cordilleras are a chain of parallel mountains including the Alaska Range and the Rocky Mountains, the Great Plains lies between the western Cordilleras and the Appalachian Mountains. Now the Appalachian Mountains is the 3rd physical division, and it is also known as the Eastern Highlands. Now why Eastern Highlands? Simply because it lies on the eastern part of the continent. And the 4th physical division is the Canadian Shield on the northeastern part of the continent. So we see that these 4 are the major physical divisions of the continent. Let's come to the very first physical division, that is the Western Cordilleras. Now the Western Cordilleras are young fold mountains, right? And this includes the Alaska Range, where Mount McKinley is the highest peak of the Western Cordilleras and are a part of the Alaska Range. So as I mentioned, Western Cordilleras are young fold mountains. Now what are fold mountains? So when 2 tectonic plates collide with each other or come close to each other, then the overlying layers crumble and uplifts to form fold mountains. So this is how the Western Cordilleras were formed. The Western Cordilleras were formed when the Pacific plate collided or came closer to the North American plate. And this led to the formation of Western Cordilleras. So that is how we saw the Western Cordilleras were formed. Now another important range of the Western Cordilleras other than the Alaska Range is the Rocky Mountains. So the Rocky Mountains on the eastern side of the Western Cordilleras are one of the most famous mountain systems in North America, and it is also the largest mountain system of the continent. So Rocky Mountains is a large mountain system that is present in the continent of North America and is one of the most known mountain systems of the world. So here we have a picture of the Rocky Mountains, which is famously known as the Rockies. Now, as we have already talked about Mount McKinley is famously known as Denali. So Denali is the tallest mountain peak of the continent of North America with an elevation of 6,194 meters. It is one of the favorite tourist destinations of Alaska, and it is a part of the Alaska Range. Here we have a photo of Mount McKinley, also known as Denali. So what did we just learn? Which is the highest mountain peak in the Western Cordilleras? Is it Denali, Mount Everest or Sierra Nevada? Yes, the correct answer is Denali, also known as Mount McKinley. So Denali or Mount McKinley is the tallest or the highest mountain peak of the Western Cordilleras. Now, other than the Alaska Range, other important mountain ranges of the Western Cordilleras are the Cascade Range, Coast Range, Sierra Nevada and Sierra Madre. So these are some of the most important mountain ranges of the Western Cordilleras. Now, while the mountain building system was going on in the western part of the continent, alongside important plateaus also developed. So these important plateaus developed between or were surrounded by mountains. So this led to the formation of Intermountain Plateaus. So what are Intermountain Plateaus? Intermountain Plateaus refer to those plateaus which are surrounded by mountains. Now some important Intermountain Plateaus in the Western Cordillera region are the Columbia Plateau, Colorado Plateau and the Mexican Plateau. So here are some important intermountain plateaus that we just looked at. So the first is the Columbia Plateau. Now Columbia Plateau is one of the sites where the earth has witnessed the largest overflow of lava in human history. On the other hand, we have the Colorado Plateau. Now Colorado Plateau is another very famous and important plateau that consists of rocks that can be dated back to around 350 million years ago. Next we have the Mexican Plateau, which is another important intermountain plateau. So there we looked at some important mountain ranges of the Western Cordilleras, which are a chain of young fold mountains. Now surrounded by the Columbia Plateau, Sierra Nevada, Mojave Desert and the Wasatch Mountains is present a very important basin of the continent of North America known as the Great Basin, right here at the center. Now, surrounded by these physical features, the landscape has converted into a bowl-like structure or a sink, which has led to the formation of this basin known as the Great Basin. Now, because of the sink-like structure, the rivers have not been allowed to move out and join some large water body, and the rivers drain into the land. That is why the Great Basin region experiences inland drainage. So now we learnt about the Great Basin, which is a distinctive feature of the Western North America. Now, a desert present in this region is known as the Great Basin Desert. Now, south of the Great Basin, we have the Colorado Plateau. So the Colorado Plateau is an important plateau of the continent, and a major river flowing over this region is the Colorado River. So the Colorado River, along with its tributaries, have cut deep gorges and canyons into the soft rocks of the plateau. Now this has given rise to the very famous Grand Canyon. The Western Cordilleras includes a chain of parallel mountains which has blocked moisture-laden winds from the Pacific Ocean, not letting the moisture-laden winds come on this side of the Western Cordilleras, keeping the area completely dry and giving rise to many deserts. This is known as the orographic effect, where the moisture-laden winds are blocked by mountain or plateaus, keeping the other side completely dry and causing precipitation on only one side. Now we just saw that the Western Cordilleras have led to the orographic effect or the orographic rainfall in the Western Cordillera region. This has given rise to various deserts in the western side of the continent. Now some important deserts in this region include the Great Basin Desert, the Mojave Desert right to the south of the Great Basin Desert, and the Sonoran Desert right to the south of Mojave Desert, and also the Chihuahuan Desert. So these four important deserts are a result of the orographic effect caused by the Western Cordilleras. A while ago, we learned that in the Colorado Plateau region, the Colorado River along with its tributaries have cut deep gorges and canyons. Now this has led to the formation of the Grand Canyon, a very famous physical feature and most visited sites in North America. So the Grand Canyon in Colorado is a part of the Sonoran and Mojave deserts. Another important physical feature found in the Mojave Desert is the Death Valley. The Death Valley is a desert valley in the northern Mojave Desert right here. So in the northern part of the Mojave Desert, we have the Death Valley, which is a desert valley, and it is bordering the Great Basin. Now here we have a glimpse of the Death Valley. It is considered one of the hottest places on Earth. Now let us take a look at another important and very famous Badwater Basin. So what is this Badwater Basin? So the Badwater Basin is present in the Death Valley, as you can see here, right here, and it is the lowest point in North America. Now here is a picture of the Badwater Basin. It is believed that this basin is 282 feet below sea level. So it is the lowest point in North America present in the Death Valley region of the continent. We always find water in the Badwater Basin. However, this water is believed to be very saline and it cannot be used for any purpose. That is why the name Badwater Basin. So those were some very important deserts in the western part of the continent. Now, some very important flora and fauna of the deserts of North America are the greater roadrunner, the rattlesnake, and the Joshua tree. Now the greater roadrunner is actually a bird. It does not fly much, but it runs very fast on the ground, and so the name greater roadrunner. On the other hand, we have the rattlesnake that looks very scary, and it is one of the distinct animals found in the desert area. Now deserts, as we all know, do not support a lot of vegetation. However, a very important vegetation found in the deserts of North America is the Joshua tree. So in this lesson, we were able to understand the 4 major physical divisions of the continent of North America, and we also learnt about some very interesting facts about each physical division. In our next lesson, we will be talking more about the physical divisions of the continent. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. You can also register for free at DeltaStep.com or download the DeltaStep app to learn one-to-one with our amazing teachers or to get access to all our 5,000 plus amazing videos as per your school syllabus. Master each topic with our adaptive practice technology. Get million plus questions with step-by-step solutions and unlimited mock test. Get all your doubts resolved instantly. Learn via games and win amazing prizes like PlayStations and iPads. So at DeltaStep, learning is not just fun and easy, it is rewarding too. So register for free now.